This video is sponsored by Wondershare. MagnatesMedia thumbnails are known for their incredibly vibrant and contrasting colors that really grab your attention. In this video, I'm going to recreate one of their most complicated thumbnails from scratch without using any AI-generated images. And here's a little bonus. Our previous video got 2,000 likes, so if this video reaches 3,000 likes, I'll share the PSD link of this thumbnail in the description for you to explore. Now, let's get started. I found this picture that matches with that face and expression in the thumbnail the most. We just need the face, so I separated it from the body. Now I'll import it in the thumbnail document of 1920 by 1080. To give him a slight intense look, I grabbed the lasso tool, then made a selection of this area, and then pressed Ctrl-J to extract the selection to a new layer. Now I'll warp it like this. Just bring the eyebrows downwards, especially the middle areas. Have to give him a serious look. See the difference? Yeah, that looks good. Now with a hue saturation adjustment layer, decrease the saturation all the way. Then, with an exposure adjustment, increase the exposure a little and use the gamma correction slider to fix the contrast. Then, with one more exposure adjustment, I took the gamma slider to the left, inverted the mask, then painted here to remove these shadows. We need to make the lighting consistent. I did this so that I can do my own lights and shadows. Looks much better now. I added a black solid in background just to see things clearly. Now with an exposure adjustment, I decreased the exposure this time to paint those dark circles around the eyes. I started by painting with a hard round brush and then erased with a soft round brush around the edges to make them softer. Then did the exact same thing on the right side as well. Removed some from the eyeballs. Then with curves adjustment, I made the eyebrows areas more brighter. Then I darkened the areas around the eyes even more with curves adjustment layer. Now let me show you something before going any further. If you're a thumbnail designer, an editor, or a YouTuber, Wondershare Uniconverter has everything you'll need. Let me show you how. Let's say if you design thumbnails, or if you just want one for your own YouTube video, Uniconverter has a cool AI thumbnail maker. Simply write your prompt, and it'll generate a thumbnail that would be a great starting point. Then you can take it to any editing software or simple mobile app and make some edits. And here's our thumbnail ready within minutes. It also has an AI image enhancer, which is very useful to get this smooth skin effect for your thumbnails. And if you edit photos or retouch, AI image upscaler feature is for you. You can upscale your images up to 8x. If you're a video guy, Uniconverter also has an AI video upscaler feature. I tried it on this clip and this was the result. I don't know if you can spot the difference on YouTube, but it did a really impressive job. The quality is greatly improved. Uniconverter even has a text-to-speech feature that you can use for your YouTube videos.
This is the example of the text-to-speech voice.
I only showed you a few of its features, but there's so many more in this software. To get it, simply use the link in description and you can try Uniconverter for free. Now let's get back to our thumbnail. To add the red paint on the face, I made a red solid color, clipped it to the face, changed the blend mode to multiply, inverted the mask, and simply painted those shapes. I did the same thing again, first painted with hard round brush and then erased it to get these pointy edges. I did it with brush. I'm sure it would look better if I used pen tool, but I needed to get this done quickly. Now it's time for shadows. I used exposure adjustment with these settings, and then painted shadows according to the original thumbnail. There are going to be tons of shadows and highlights in this video, and I'll be using the same adjustment layers for them, so I might not show every time I make them. Otherwise, this video will be an hour long. Looks okay to me. Now for the hair, I found this guy's hair matching the most with what I want, so I'll just steal his hair. Placed it around here, and then removed the head, which is in back. I removed these parts of the main hair as well with layer mask, and then brought back the areas that I want. I tried to match it with the original as much as I could. I know this looks trash, but trust me, it's gonna look good at the end. I then used hue saturation adjustment to colorize the hair. Gave it a nice orange or reddish or whatever color the original has. Then of course the hair will cast some shadows on the face, so I painted some on the face. Little bit here on the forehead below the hair, some on this side as well. Now similarly, I added some shadows on the hair too. Now for this highlight on the nose, I made a white solid color layer and then used this brush from default dry media brushes folder. And then painted like this. After that, I painted some rim lights on the edges like in the original, similarly on the chin, and some on this side. Now it's starting to look better. Then I repainted those lines on the eyes. I noticed that he doesn't have these wrinkle lines on face, so I painted some on those manually. Similarly on the other side as well. After that, it's time to give him a body. For that, I'll use this shirt image. Then I warped it to match it better with the original, and then gave it this orange color. Set the blend mode to multiply with some more adjustments. I improved the colors, then I made a selection for those red straps, and then used hue saturation adjustment to give it a dark red color. Then added this circular badge thing as well. Now the original thumbnail doesn't have these red stripes pattern on the arms, so I'll go ahead and add those as well. I then added some lights on the body. Then I started painting shadows. First hard shadows, softened the edges a bit, and then some soft shadows. Then I basically did the same thing and painted tons of shadows all over the torso. I'm gonna say shadows so many times in this video. Now I gave him a nice bow tie, painted shadows on it, and then some below. Then some soft shadows. Then I added rim lights on the body as well, exactly like I did on the face. For the background, I found this image by searching Times Square on Google. I placed it behind our subject, added some Gaussian blur, then increased a lot of saturation, then with curves, added some contrast to it. Then with a blue solid color, and blending mode changed to linear dodge. I painted light glow in the background. These are the glows that are casting those rim lights on our subject. With curves, I increased overall brightness of the subject and then tried to match the lighting of the outfit to the surrounding lights as well. A bit of highlights on the bow tie also. Then I added this icon here. And then again, shadows obviously. So it looks like it's actually on that fabric. Then I placed one icon behind here. Then filter, blur, and then motion blur. Added subtle amount of motion to this icon, and then changed the blend mode to linear light. Changed the color using hue saturation adjustment, and then duplicated this icon to other areas as well. Now I'll drag this 3D signboard to the thumbnail. Place it around here, place this layer at the back, then adjusted the position, increased some of its contrast with curves adjustment layer, and then duplicated it to the left. Placed it behind the glows. Added one more to the back with some Gaussian blur, then created an orange solid color, and set its blend mode to linear dodge. Then simply painted some glows on these signboards. Then I made some adjustments to the colors and position of the background. I made the head a bit bigger and took it slightly upwards, then warped the body because it wasn't looking good to me, especially the neck area. Then I erased the unwanted areas, then again did some adjustments to the background. I then improved the shadows on the face, also made the eyes areas more darker, and made these wrinkles or lines more visible to match it better with the original. Now to paint this kind of highlights on hair without a graphic tablet, I have a cool trick. First, we'll make hairbrushes. For that, create a new document of any size. I'll take 30 by 30 pixels. Take a normal brush and make sure the hardness is at 100. Make the brush smaller, create a new layer, and unlock and delete this background layer. Then simply make some random big and small dots with brush, and then go to edit, and then define brush preset, give it any name, and our brush is ready. You can make as many as you want. Let's get back to our thumbnail now. Now to set up layers for the highlights, I'll use the action that I've made. I already made a detailed video on it. You can check it out. Now, what we have to do is just select this action and then click on the play button. If it gives this message, just click on stop and our layers are ready. Now I'll select a blue gradient from my pre-made gradients. You can get these as well in that video. With this black layer selected, start painting with our hairbrushes. Make sure to paint with lower flow. I know it doesn't have that smoothness and those faded edges, but just wait. Let me zoom out. Now, how does it look?
Trash.
Okay, convert our paint layer to Smart Object. Now go to Filter, Stylize, and then Oil Paint. Set all the sliders to the right, and then hit OK. How about now? We got smooth lines and faded edges like a graphic tablet. Now with a levels adjustment, if you drag this middle slider to the left, it'll increase the thickness and intensity of the highlights, and vice versa if you drag it to the right. I increased some intensity, and then with inverted mask, painted it on some areas. With curves adjustment layer, I painted some light on the hair, and then the hair will also have some color of those blue highlights. So I painted some, and then some glows on these areas over everything. Then some more refinements on the eyes. Then I made this area darker. Similarly on the left, did this to make these icons more visible. Also some darkness in front on the bottom area. Then I added a camera raw filter. Our goal was to avoid using any AI, so we can stop here. However, I'd like to share a tip that I often use, which I think will be helpful for you too. I exported the image then in Crea AI. I also have a video on it as well. You can check it out. I'll import my thumbnail here. Now here on the right, if you click on this settings button, you'll see the auto-generated prompt that it'll use to regenerate this image. You can change it if you want, but I'll leave this and all other settings as is. And then simply click on generate. After loading, this is the result. It completely changed the face, but look at the details in his outfit. Made it much more natural and realistic. This is what I wanted. I downloaded this by clicking on this button, then in Photoshop. I imported that image above the thumbnail, created an inverted mask by holding Alt and clicking on this button. Then I brought back the areas that I wanted by painting on the mask with white color. After some adjustments, this is the result. Now, I agree that the original is way better. The purpose of this video was to inspire and show you how much work goes into creating something like this. Let's complete our 3K likes goal on this video.